it was the only price mover on the market today. In terms of how that has translated on the market indices, the composite index expanded by 0.11 points, quite slightly, not so much, and giving you a return of 46.68%. So if you're investing on the market since the start of the year, this is where your returns is hovering around. The financial stocks recorded no change, and the return stands at 16.11%. Edward, there was no much activity on the market today. At the Ghana Economic Forum today, the Deputy Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Mr. Benamo, was there. In fact, conversation came about how the market can make available long-term capital to help accelerate the economic growth. Of course, they pointed out to the fact that the only reliable long-term fund they can have for onward lending is the pension funds. And we are seeing the managers of these funds not having so much interest on the Accra base. They prefer for
government bonds.
Yes, I mean, they are trying to minimize their exposure to risk. But, I mean, some good news from what I have
you gathered there,
gathered from the data they did the presentation on. Year to date, there have been an increase in the allocation of pension funds to their Accra beds around 2%.
Wonderful. That's
so
great
this
news.
has grown to some 3.2, 3.3%. And I think that is some good news. And this has been attributed to some form of engagement between managers of the Ghana Stock Exchange and these pension funds. Of course, COVID-19 has come. You know, some of these managers invested in some of these, we don't want to mention
microfinance companies that collapsed. Yeah.
So they are beginning to see the relevance of investing in equities because of the security. The regulation will ensure that the depositors or investors' funds are protected and stuff. So we are waiting to see how.
And interestingly, today too, the Ghana Cocoa Board also met with editors, and they were talking about the launching of the Cocoa Farmers Pension Scheme, going full blast, hopefully this month. So the president will launch that, and it's going to case that from New Adibias in the Ashanti region and part of West Central and Western region. So that is very good news.
For me, I always support whatever we do for our farmers, especially cocoa farmers. If you look at the contribution of the commodity to the development of the Ghanaian economy and even the prestige it has given us on the global front.
Very, very. That's our brand.
It's
our
brand.
Brand.
Yes.
When we go nowhere, it's about cocoa.
Yes.
So we were looking forward to that. And it's announced. Cocoa Boss said that look here, government, the individuals cocoa. When you sell your cocoa, they take 5% as part of your pension. And then the Cocoa Board will top it up 1% of the value of whatever you put in there. So
and also the governor of the central bank today at the Ghana Economic Forum has been more or less taking the Ghanaian public through what the economy went through as far as the COVID-19 pandemic is, and I know you'll be taking a I think
it's very, very important we take a soundbite from that particular program. So let's pick a soundbite from the governor of the Bank of Ghana about the inflationary trends, because food prices are going up, fuel prices are going up across the globe. The inflationary pressures are so much. So let's listen to what he expects by close of 2021 December.
It has been almost 20 months since the shock of COVID-19 pandemic hit the Ghanaian economy. The unprecedented adverse global consequences are ongoing, but the good news is that the Ghanaian economy absorbed the shock well, and the economy has begun to turn around very strongly, back better. The prudent and timely policy support, one may call it homegrown, the removal of restrictions, the reopening of business activities, increased vaccinations, have all worked together to systematically support the recovery process. Recent economic indicators show a steady turnaround. First, the impact of the pandemic pushed inflation outside the medium-term target band to 11.4% in July 2020. Since then, inflation has fallen steadily and stayed around the central path of the target band of 8%. More recently, impacted mainly by rising domestic and global food prices, inflation has moved outside the target band, now reading 10.6% as at September 2021. The bank's September 2021 forecast, however, indicates that inflation will remain within the medium target band and closer to the upper limit in the near term. The above notwithstanding, the bank's measure of short-term economic dynamics shows that economic activity continues to pick up and maintaining the steady momentum since the last quarter.
Ernest Addison talking to us about the inflationary pressures that is building up in the economy. But we'll go straight to talk to the managing director of Travel and Tours to find out more about the easing of restrictions in Europe, in America, and how that is going to impact on the Ghanaian travel and tour industry. You're welcome, Joanne.
Thank you, Mr. Nyako.
Great to have you. Now, what was the condition like before COVID-19 hits your industry?
Oh, okay. Good evening to you and good evening to our cherished viewers. I will take this topic on three perspectives. First, we look at the passengers. The passengers, before COVID-19, passengers could travel stress-free. They could travel at their convenience, and they can decide when to travel without subjecting themselves to any medical test. Their travel budget was comfortable for them without paying any COVID test fee. So, and then when we come to the side of government, before COVID, most travel agencies could honor their tax obligations to the government. This, in effect, was helping the country as government could collect more revenue for development from the agents. And then if we look at the business environment, tourism was booming. Typical example was the year of return, which saw a lot of travelers coming into the country. And this also boosted the local economy before COVID.
All right. Now, so let's look at during the pandemic. How was your business faring and your colleague as well?
During the COVID, in fact, there was a total shutdown in the aviation industry, and agents were compelled to close down our offices. We could not even take advantage of technology to work from home, as the airspace was virtually closed. So it really affected our business drastically.
Wow. So in terms of you talk about affecting your business drastically, revenue, and then even job losses. How was it like?
Oh yes, like I said, because the airspace was closed, we eventually had to close our offices. So nothing was going on. All staff were home, and then even now that we resumed work, we are still on rotation because business is not like before compared to when there was no COVID. Now our business, the travel business, is not the same as before.
Now let's look at the easing of restrictions across the globe. Now we've heard the U.S. government announcing that hopefully by 8th November, if I travel from Accra to New York, I will not be compelled to go for quarantine, but I have to show my COVID vaccination card. How is that going to impact on your business?
I think it will encourage people to travel because now a lot of people are taking their time. Although they have they are going to ease the restriction of quarantine, you still have to do your PCR test. You know, it comes with an extra cost. Just that when you get to the U.S., you still have, after 2 days, you still have to do your COVID test, but then you will not be quarantined for like a week like before. But then, I mean, it's still the same.
What about the European space? Is it different from what is happening in the U.S.?
No, it's not different. It's like now UK has also come out that in the month of November, they are also going to ease this quarantine thing. When you get to the UK, the second day you take your PCR test, and if you are negative, there is no need for you to be quarantined. You go about your normal duty. Unlike before that, you get to UK, you still need to be quarantined for 7 days before you can go out.
Now, if you look at your industry, which areas or which part of the world that we see a lot of Ghanaians, the Ghanaians moving to traveling to do business or for tourism purposes?
Okay, if we talk about tourism purposes, there are a lot of countries that Ghanaians would like to go. For example, South Africa. People go to Morocco, Kenya, Ethiopia, and then Dubai. Now, Dubai is really booming with tourism because of the COVID. Now, a lot of people who were going to the Americans, UK, to Europe for tourism are now all trooping to Dubai. You know that now there's this Dubai Expo 2020, and a lot of people are now going to Dubai. But then people are still traveling to the US and then to the UK as well, and to other parts of Europe.
Now, in terms of
holidays and leisure.
Okay. Now, those who are coming in from outside, at the moment, which part of the world is coming more to Ghana compared to where we were not in COVID?
Now you can actually say a particular country nationals are really coming to Ghana. People are coming. Those who could not come 2020 when there was this lockdown, now people are coming. Even Ghanaians abroad are coming for visits. Other foreigners from the US, from UK, and other parts of the world, some are coming. But it's not like when there was this homecoming thing.
So at the moment, if you look at the operations of the travel and tour industry in Ghana, are you operating at maybe 70%? If you look at the percent in terms of percentage, are you doing about 50 or 30, or you yet to?
We are operating between 40 and 50. That is what I can say. It's actually not the same. Actually not the same. But we are hoping that things will change. Things will change now that people are fully vaccinated, and then gradually. But
if you look around the world now, sitting at where you are, when do you foresee the industry picking up? I mean, getting back to full strength?
The International Air Travel Association, IATA, came out to say that they are hopeful that the industry will normalize in 2 years' time.
Wow.
That is hopefully 2023, looking at the way things are going now. So we hope that all hope is not lost. We hope that we'll come back to our feet. Yes, at this time we are struggling, but it is well.
It is well, but let's look at the fuel. We've seen fuel prices now going up. Is that also going to affect your industry?
Oh, yes. You know, our industry is such that anytime there is foreign exchange, when the rate of exchange goes up, automatically it affects the fare. You know, although our fares are paid in cedis, normally they check the dollar rate of exchange. So whenever the dollar goes up, automatically the airfares also goes up. You know, so it does affect it. It does affect it in a way, because in the air ticket, fuel surcharge is part of it. So when the fuel goes up, automatically the airfare also goes up.
So now, do you see a lot of Ghanaians going to the US? Because we've seen Delta that left, now coming back.
Oh, Delta has been in the system for long. It's United,
United,
and
yes.
then they came back.
United, yes.
A lot, yeah. A lot of people go to the US. A lot. And United and Delta, the direct flights are now enjoying, because, you know, if you have the US visitors visa, you cannot transit through Europe. So people are compelled to use the direct flights. Delta directly to New York, and then United directly to Washington. So it's good.
Why were not people with a transit visa or travelers, visited visa, not been allowed to transit through Europe?
It's because of the COVID. When the COVID and then U.S. laid embargo on Europe, you can only transit through Europe when you are residents. You have your residence. But then with your visitor's U.S. visa, you can't transit through Europe unless you have a Schengen visa. But then if you don't have a Schengen visa and you are going to the U.S., you can't go through Europe. That is the new procedure now.
Wow. So looking at the embassies that were shut down in Ghana here and the high commissions, have they also opened up to respond to the easing of restrictions? Yes,
they have. They have. Now a lot of embassies have opened their offices and they are attending to clients. Yes, you don't go directly. Passengers don't go directly to the embassies. They go through the VFS office to submit their documents. Like for example, when you need a U.S. visa, you're going to renew your U.S. visa, you submit all your documents to DHL. And then when the visa is done, you go to DHL and then you pick it up. So you don't go directly to the U.S. embassy anymore.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Now let's look at Africa, the airline industry in Africa. When this all restrictions were happening, I realized that most airlines like Kenya Airways, Ethiopia were vibrant all over the place, but though SA was not active because of the challenge they went through.
Yes, they were having their normal flight schedules, just that most of them cut down certain countries. They were not operating to certain countries, but then they were vibrant, especially Ethiopian Airlines. They never canceled their flights. Even during the COVID time, they were doing a lot of charters and cargo from Ghana to other parts of the world. But South Africa had their own issue, but then they have also started operations.
So with South Africa back, how is that going to impact on your operations? Because I think a lot of Ghanaians do travel from here to South Africa.
Yes, they do. So now the travelers will enjoy direct flights to South Africa instead of going to transit through other countries like through Addis or through Nairobi. Now if they are going to South Africa, it depends. You know, they now have the free will to go directly to Johannesburg without transiting through any of these other countries.
On the West Coast, what would you describe the West Coast business of the airline industry?
West Coast business, now you know that African World also operates to West Coast now. They go directly to Abuja and then direct to Abuja, direct to Lagos. But then we also have other airlines like Askai. You transit through Lomé. And then we have Air Côte d'Ivoire through Abidjan. And then we have, so it's also good.
Great to have you, Mrs. Joanna Baina-Afo, for your time talking to us about the operations of the airline industry, how the easing restrictions are going to impact on your operations. Thank you very much. So this is how we draw the curtain for today.
It's a pleasure having me.
Thank you. Very grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Great. So this is how we draw the curtain for today. My name is Edward Nyakun. God willing, we'll meet tomorrow. Shalom.
There are strong women whose stories teach us perseverance, logic, decisiveness and self-confidence. Being strong is not just about physical abilities, but also emotional, intellectual and mental strength. Women's Voice is a platform to hear and share stories to encourage women and girls. Women are the real architects of society. It is they who provide the foundation of power, grace, wisdom, justice, creativity and hope. Join us live every Monday at 4 p.m. on GBC News and GTV. Wednesdays live at 4 p.m. on GBC News and a repeat on Saturdays at 4 p.m. on GBC News and Sundays at 3 p.m. also on GBC News. Women's Voice. No one can make you inferior without your consent.
As waste is generated every day, we have an obligation to keep our environment clean every day. We have to do so daily and not on a monthly basis. Every day is Sanitation Day.
According to NC, say I'm a pay a better. Let us say, I bet you go. If you don't see a better Saturday, don't you see a man? Maybe I say run a war. Let's say, be a more, if you be anymore. That's the money be a better.
You can make your money, but clean Ghana first.
What are you selling, mommy? Food or garbage? If you sell food in a dirty environment, no one should buy.
No excuses. Be a good citizen. Keep a clean surrounding.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.